A soft breeze whispers through the hedgerows, brushing against the mossy stones that circle the quiet village like an old lullaby. The sky above is a velvet sea, dotted with pale stars beginning to dim, as though even the heavens are preparing to rest. One by one, windows beneath thatched roofs blink closed like tired eyes, warm candlelight fading into a hush of dreams. The scent of wood smoke lingers in the chilled morning air, mingling with dew settling gently on the woven straw rooftops and the rough bark of timber-framed homes. In the village square, a wooden cart rests beneath a leafless tree, its wheels damp with the night's breath. Nothing moves but a sleepy cat curled on the doorstep of the baker's house, its chest rising slowly in rhythm with the silence. Farther out, past a crooked wooden gate, sheep stir in their pen but make no sound, their soft coats touched by the faintest trace of silver mist. And above it all, a single figure stands cloaked near the chapel's stone steps, watching the last stars recede like embers, cooling in the hearth of the sky. Their hands are folded, not in prayer, but in quiet awe, as if holding a sacred moment that belongs to no one but the hour before dawn. A faint chime rings from the chapel tower, not a warning, but a sigh. The night loosens its hold, not with thunder, but with a gentle exhale, and the world prepares to turn again. Beyond the final flicker of the midnight hearth, a stillness settles across the cottages like a woven blanket of fig. The roofs, steep and time-worn, cradle the dreams of those who lie beneath them. Dreams shaped by hay-filled pillows, woolen cloaks, and fading lullabies. The stars above shimmer faintly, as if reluctant to leave, holding their last breath before slipping behind the pale blue veil of morning. A fox pads softly along the frost-lined edge of the pasture, its footprints vanishing behind it in the thawing earth. In the herb garden of an old healer's hut, the last of the snow clings to bent stalks of lavender and sage. A wooden bucket sits overturned beside the well, the rope still damp from yesterday's pull. Everything rests. Even the wind, usually curious, hums low and steady as though it too respects the hush of the hour. A young apprentice, wrapped in a cloak too large for his frame, stirs from his cot. But he does not rise. Instead, he listens, to the absence of footsteps, to the quiet drip of water from the eaves, to the slow creaking of wood as it breathes in the stillness. His gaze turns to the window where the stars begin to disappear one by one, their farewell silent and slow. He smiles, not because something has happened, but because nothing has. In this quiet, in this untouched sliver of time, he belongs, not to the tasks of day nor the rituals of sleep, but to the in-between. And as the sky softens, he lets his eyes fall closed again, holding the hush within him like a sacred promise. A lantern glows dimly at the edge of a cobbled path, swaying gently from an iron hook outside the cooper's home. Its flame dances behind smoky glass, casting soft light upon a puddle where the stars still shimmer, reflected for a moment longer before the sky shifts and swallows them. The village lies hushed, its chimneys cold, its wells undisturbed, its thatched rooftops outlined in frost and shadow. Beyond the clustered homes, the old orchard stretches into mist, gnarled trees heavy with the memory of autumn's sweetness. A gentle wind stirs fallen leaves that curl like sleeping hands along the fence line. The distant bleat of a lamb echoes briefly and disappears, absorbed into the still breath of the hills. Even the crows are silent, their wings folded, their eyes closed to the gray-pink horizon. Inside a cottage trimmed with ivy and carved shutters, a weaver dozes beside her empty loom. Her hands are stained with dye, her fingers loosely curled around a thread that leads nowhere now. The fire has long gone out, leaving only the warm scent of ash and wool. Her cat lies near her feet, belly rising and falling beneath a quilt sewn by older hands. Outside, the sky lightens by degrees, though no sun yet dares to rise. One star remains, stubborn and pale, above the steeple of the village church. It glints like a needle waiting to stitch the day to the night. And just before it fades, it pauses, holding the moment like a breath, suspended, until the silence deepens and the morning, soft and slow, begins. The rooftops are soaked in silver-blue shadow, where the last stars hang like faded threads on a worn tapestry. Not a dog barks, not a bird stirs. The village is wrapped in such profound stillness that even the air seems to move with reverence. Thin smoke curls upward from a lone hearth, still glowing within the farthest cottage, as if refusing to surrender entirely to the night. An old man sits on a wooden bench beneath the linden tree, shawl over shoulders, eyes heavy with sleep. He hasn't spoken in an hour, nor needed to. His breath fogs gently in the cold as he watches the sky turn from ink to ash. In his lap rests a wooden pipe, long extinguished, forgotten in favor of the hush. Around him the world waits, the chickens not yet stirring, the mill wheel still, the river held in a moment of perfect hush before its first ripple breaks loose. Above, the stars dim in silence, as if retreating politely, giving way to the day without ceremony. A bat dips once, then disappears behind the barn's dark slats, and in the chimney smoke's slow rise is written a kind of scripture, not of words, but of rhythm, of return. The old man closes his eyes. He won't sleep, not yet, but he won't speak either. There is no need. The stars will leave. The thatched roofs will catch morning dew. The bell will ring soon. But for now, everything simply is, cradled in the space between dark and light. Mist drapes gently over the hedges and rooftops, soft as wool spun by moonlight. The thatched cottages, worn smooth by wind and rain, seem to lean closer in sleep, as if dreaming together beneath the fading night. A quiet hush hums through the streets, broken only by the distant trickle of water from the stone fountain in the center square, its sound rounded and slow, like a lullaby murmured through stone. A stable door creaks ever so slightly in the breeze, but no hoof strikes the earth. Even the horses rest, their breath rising like incense in the chill air. In a window near the baker's shop, a candle flickers one last time before succumbing to the gray-blue morning. A single roll of parchment lies open on the table inside, weighed down by a sprig of rosemary and an unfinished thought. Along the boundary path, where wild thyme grows in clusters, a young girl stirs from where she fell asleep beneath a quilt of moss and dreams. She sits up slowly, blinking at the sky as the stars begin to dim, her braid loose and damp with dew. She wraps her shawl tighter and watches as a bird glides quietly over the chimney tops, not singing, simply watching, as she is. She does not speak. She does not rise. The stars are nearly gone now, but not completely. She places one palm on the cold earth beside her and listens. To silence, to warmth coming through the soil, to belonging not as noise, but as stillness. And in that stillness, she finds not answers, but something better. The trust that morning will come, slow and kind, just as it always has. Far beyond the village walls, the hills are still wrapped in their night cloaks, yet the thatched rooftops below them begin to glow faintly, kissed by the breath of dawn. A light wind stirs the dew-laced ivy that clings to the homes like old memories, while chimney stones soak in the sky's first pale blush. All is quiet, not the silence of absence, but the presence of peace, a village gently held between breath and beginning. In the chapel tower, the bell remains still, its clapper asleep, its voice not yet called upon. A moth flutters lazily against the leaded glass of a high window before settling in a crack of ancient wood. Somewhere, tucked beneath a frayed wool blanket, A scribe sleeps at his desk, quill still poised in hand, ink long dried on the page. The scent of beeswax and vellum lingers in the room, comforting, worn, like a well-loved prayer whispered too often to forget. Outside, the grass is damp and cool beneath bare feet. A child walks slowly along the lane, chasing a dream half-remembered from sleep. Her fingers trail along a garden fence, pausing now and then to stroke the velvet heads of early poppies. She does not know where she is going, only that the stars are almost gone, and she wants to see the last one leave. As it fades, quiet and distant, she exhales, not from sorrow, but from the gentle contentment that something beautiful has passed and was seen. And as she turns back toward home, the village remains asleep, held in the sacred pause before birdsong, a world not yet woken, and all the more precious for it. Above the sleeping village, stars shimmer in retreat, their light dimming like whispers swallowed by soft walls of fig. The sky shifts from midnight to pearl, and the thatched rooftops below drink in the color without stirring. Each cottage, with its smoke-darkened beams and soot-streaked chimneys, holds a world within, of breath, of warmth, of quiet dreams spun between linen sheets and hand-woven quilts. A wooden shutter, cracked open just enough to let in the breeze, sways gently on its hinge. Inside, a young mother lies beside her child, both curled beneath the same woolen coverlet stitched with faded embroidery. Her eyes are half open, not out of fear, but reverence, watching the soft play of shadow across the wall, where moonlight slips through the slats like water through fingers. On the stone lane outside, the cobbles are slick with dew, glinting softly in the blue hour light. A blackbird flits silently from the inn's signpost to the edge of the well, its feathers ruffled in the chill, its call held back by the hush. No rooster crows, no footfalls echo. The world waits, whole and unbroken. Near the edge of the village, an old priest lights a single taper at the altar of a tiny wooden chapel. The flame flickers, catching on the old icons painted in ochre and gold leaf. Saints who watch without speaking. He does not pray aloud. Instead, he listens to the silence between each breath, letting it fill him like a sacred hymn. And outside, the final star disappears beyond the hills. Morning has not arrived, not quite, but it is near, and the village, wrapped in silence, is ready to receive it.